Madam Speaker, distinguished sponsor, good afternoon, and good afternoon to the COA family. So I would like to begin with my request na ma-address po yung RA 11861, yung sa Solo Parents, Expanded Solo Parents Welfare Act. So, for job orders and contract of service, the job order and contract of service framework references RA 11861, which amended the solo parent law to grant a 7-day parental leave with pay for solo parents, including JO personnel and contract of service personnel. However, the Civil Service Commission has ruled that there is no employer-employee relationship in these cases, leading many national government agencies to refrain from implementing this benefit. Our proposed solution, nakausap ko na rin po ang Civil Service Commission dito, and they agree, but of course they need your clearance. Our proposed solution is to incorporate the 7-day parental leave for solo parents into the JO contracts or COS contracts accessible to employees with official solo parent IDs. So we seek the COA's concurrence to ensure the compliance of the law. In light of the above, would COA consider issuing a formal guideline, a policy statement, or any written communication that explicitly supports the implementation of RA 11861 to provide clear official direction for agencies on adopting the 7-day parental leave for solo parents under JO and COS arrangements? Mr. Sponsor.
Madam Speaker, Mr. Interpolator, the COA will exert effort to comply or issue guidelines for government agencies and LGUs to give 7-day parental leave to its job order employee. So, as to the guidelines, the COA can do that for the LGUs to comply. But as to the question whether to be enforced, or they can enforce these guidelines, actually, ang mga reasons of LGUs or yun na, yung walang employee-employer relationship, no? At saka most likely the reason ng pondo, ng budget. So, but as to issuance of guidelines, the COA will commit to issue guidelines for pursuant to Republic Act 11861.
So, Madam Speaker, distinguished sponsor, the COA agrees and will issue a guideline regarding this.
Yes, Madam Speaker, the COA will commit to issue guidelines.
When can we expect the guideline po? Distinguished sponsor.
The COA will drop it within the month in coordination or with the Civil Service Commission. Parang joint Civil Service sa COA.
So the COA will call for a joint meeting with the Civil Service Commission, and you will issue a resolution, a joint resolution.
Hopefully, we can include the DBM for funding.
Ano po yun, distinguished?
DBM, para pundo, para
Boss, pakilapit po yung mic para Pasensya na.
maybe hopefully we can include the DBM, the Department.
Yes,
Para
definitely.
sa pundo, para po sa
And the COA will initiate
yeah.
the meeting and the joint resolution. Thank you, distinguished sponsor. So with regards to the Higher Education Development Fund, Section 11 of Republic Act number 7722 of 1994, creating CHED, states that the Higher Education Development Fund shall be administered by CHED, and for prudent management, a reputable government financial institution, or GFI, shall be appointed as the portfolio manager, subject to conditions set by the Commission. Despite HEDF being an earmarked revenue source, these monies have been deposited with the Bureau of Treasury and commingled with the General Fund. An arrangement that appears inconsistent with the explicit mandate of RA 7722 on fund administration and portfolio management by a GFI. CHED has explained, Mr. Sponsor, Madam Speaker, that the Department of Budget and Management required depositing the cash with the BTR pursuant to Executive Order number 338 issued in 1996, which directs the placement of cash balances in the Treasury. However, an executive order cannot amend or supersede a statute enacted by Congress. Historically, per CHED, HEDF was managed and deposited with the Development Bank of the Philippines from 1994 until 2006, before being required to move to the DTR. Restoring that structure would realign practice with RA 7722 and ensure that earmarked funds are professionally managed. Critically, if the earmarked HEDF were managed by a GFI, it could conservatively earn around 6% interest annually on a current fund balance of approximately 12 billion. That equates to around 720 million in annual interest. Funds that could directly finance additional scholarships and related higher education programs for our graduating high school students. So my question is, in view of Section 11 of RA 7722 and the earmarked nature of the HEDF, will the Commission on Audit commit to take the necessary audit and oversight actions to ensure compliance with the law, including directing the segregation of the HEDF from the General Fund and its portfolio management by a reputable GFI? And specifically, what steps and timelines will COA undertake to secure the return of the HEDF to CHED so that at a minimum, the fund can earn its projected annual interest of about 720 million to support more scholarships?
Mr. Speaker, the COA will discuss this matter with DBM. We cannot commit as of this time because there will be a consultation process conducted by COA and DBM and CHED. So we commit to report to the good interpellator what transpired and updates him of whatever agreement that will be achieved during this meeting. But the COA will initiate this information relay this information to DBM. Itong earmark na pera na ito ay dapat gagamitin na para sa mga solar, para sa mga kabataan. So, that is a good point, Madam Speaker, raised by a good gentleman.
May I ask distinguished sponsor, Madam Speaker, what is the opinion of COA on the situation where yung EO po ang sinundan at hindi nasunod yung batas, yung Republic Act? Ang tingin ko po kasi, Madam Speaker, distinguished sponsor, hindi na dapat pinag-uusapan ito. We are already in violation of the law. And the COA, who should be the defending the law, being the auditor, dapat po, palagay ko, dapat ibigyan na nila ng notice ang Bureau of Treasury at ang DBM na ibalik na ito sa CHED. Hindi pa po dapat ganun na mangyari.
As mentioned by the good interpolator, that the executive order cannot amend or substitute law. And I think on the part of the COA, advise the or as part of the EOM, Audit Observation Memorandum, na ito yung proseso. No?
But don't you at least, distinguished sponsor, think that this should already be flagged and a COA audit opinion should be at least released, informing the DBM that they are in violation of the law?
That's all the COA can do, subject it to EOM, no? Audit Observation Memorandum. If the good interpolator will submit it to the Sulgen, no? Or also for interpretation or nullification of that executive order.
So are you saying, distinguished sponsor, that the COA will seek advice first? Or are they going to issue an audit memorandum already?
What the COA will do is to notify the DBM that these issues arising from convoluted interpretation, no, of issuance of that EO, executive order, and executive order number
Executive Order 338,
338 series of
1996.
tagal na po. Oh.
Kaya nga po, matagal na nga po ito. At matagal nang yung ever since the CHED turned over the fund. Pero ang nakakapagtaka, bakit po hindi natin nakita na that this is in violation of the law?
Thank you, a good interpolator, for bringing out to light. Thank you for your keen observation.
So ano po what commitment can we expect from the Commission on Audit on rectifying this error?
The COA will write the DBM this week. Sa linggong ito, the COA will write the DBM.
Will you do this immediately, distinguished sponsor? Will the COA do this immediately?
Yes, Madam Speaker.
May I request that my office be furnished with the
COA
copy?
will update you on the status.
Thank you. Thank you very much. On earmarked revenues, the TSA and the one fund concept. So we recognize the Treasury Single Account Framework and the Department of Finance's position that cash is fungible and many balances are reflected as ledger entries. However, Congress enacted earmarking provisions precisely to ensure that specific revenues remain intact and available for the programs the law designates. The intent is not merely accounting separation, but real, enforceable availability of cash when those programs require it. We also understand the one fund concept, which pools cash to optimize borrowing. That said, the presidential decree establishing the one fund concept has not been amended to expressly subsume earmarked revenues or to embed the transparency and accountability safeguards needed to track the actual cash that backs those earmarked accounts. The core concern is practical. Kung kailangan na, nandyan pa ba talaga ang cash? Is it enough to say funds can be drawn when needed if, in reality, the pooled cash is insufficient at the moment of obligation or disbursement? A simple analogy. Parents set aside a trust fund for a child's future college tuition. If we follow a pure fungibility logic, that money could be diverted to other household needs or risky ventures. While it's not yet needed, but if a loss occurs and the college date arrives and the child's tuition is unfunded, earmarking is meant to avoid precisely that risk. Given that each earmarking statute uses different language and imposes distinct conditions, we respectfully ask COA to conduct a careful law-by-law review and provide concrete recommendations on how earmarked revenues should be recognized, safeguarded, and reported under the TSA and one fund concept. Whether separate subsidiary ledgers must be cash backed at all times, and how to certify that backing. Required periodic reconciliations between ledgers and actual cash with the Bureau of Treasury. Public disclosures that ensure transparency on inflows, outflows, and cash availability for each earmarked fund. We request that COA prioritize this and submit near-term guidance and timelines so we can prevent any repeat of past fund integrity failures in other institutions. So my question, will COA commit to issue within a defined timeline enforceable audit guidance and directives requiring cash-back segregation, monthly reconciliation, and public disclosure of all earmarked funds under the TSA, so that when the law says that the money is reserved for a program, the cash is undeniably there when needed. Mr. Sponsor.
Madam Speaker, we commend the good interpolator for raising that earmarked funds. No? COA commits to study how this earmarked fund and its mechanism that the money intended really for the purpose should go to that certain agency or recipient. So what the COA can commit now is to study that matter and submit recommendation for its implementation. So yan ang po ang ma-commit ng COA as of now. Pag-aralan po yung lahat ng mga earmarked funds. Lahat.
We have the assurance of COA na pag-aaralan po. And ano pong timeline ang pwede natin i-expect distinguished sponsor, for the guidelines.
Madam Speaker, distinguished Secretary, the COA commits its best to submit within the year, no? On or before December 31, 2025. Kasi
So,
marami pa yung earmark funds. Eh.
Opo.
So,
So, ganong katagal po tingin nyo, how much time do you need to,
within the year,
and
on
will
or
you please
before
update,
December 31, 2025.
will you please update our office kung about the guidelines,
Yeah.
kung ano yung progression ng pag-aaral po natin?
We
Thank you
will
very
update
much, distinguished sponsor, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much to the co family.
Thank you.